Alright, hey guys, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new here. Now, if you remember, not too long ago, I made a video where I reviewed the worst aquarium at PetSMART, set it up, put some fish in it, and talked about why the aquarium was so bad. Well, today I thought I would do a very similar video, but with an aquarium I found on Amazon. We'll get into that in a minute. This aquarium actually has very good reviews. Some of them are very bad and some of them are very good. However, overall, this tank is a horrible tank. It's advertised as a betta fish tank, and there is no way a betta fish can happily live in this aquarium. I know you're probably wondering what tank I'm talking about and what tank I will be buying for today's video. Without further ado, let's hop onto Amazon. So the tank we're going to be looking at is called the Aqueon Betta Falls Aquarium. You might have heard about this tank. There's been a lot of beef going on with it. But it's been out for a while and it's been being sold for a while. And surprisingly, a lot of people really like it. I don't know why. But here's the tank right here. As I mentioned, it's by Aqueon. Now, the weird thing about this tank is in total, it's like 2 gallons. But no, that's not 2 gallons for one betta fish. That's not even 2 gallons for 2 betta fish. That is 2 gallons for 3 betta fish. So as you can see, this bottom black part is designed almost like a sump. It's like a filter, kind of, I don't know. And then it pumps the water through a little waterfall through a filter cartridge and then into these 3-tiered aquariums. Each of these aquariums, I can only guess, holds less than a half a gallon, which is totally inappropriate for a betta fish. Let alone this aquarium does not come with a heater or a light, so this should be interesting. And of course, they advertise you buying 3 of them for a total of 9 betta fish to make a circle of betta fish death. I don't know, these are like 50 bucks a piece. Who's gonna spend $150 on the betta fish circle of death? It does have a filter, which is a plus, but other than that, this tank doesn't have a lot going for it. I guess it looks pretty, the waterfall aspect is cool, but it's way too small for betta fish. And once we get it in person, I'll show you why. However, before we go ahead and place order on this tank, I wanna show you some of the reviews. The first one that comes up is blah, blah, blah. We don't care about all these positive reviews, but some of these reviews right here, 1-star review, the betta tank is nice to look at, blah, 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 blah. However, the betta fish were actually getting stuck. That's not good. Betta fish getting stuck, I guess where the water flows into each chamber, betta fish were getting stuck in there. That's really not good. Other people are saying they love it. There's a little picture of it. Doesn't look that good. Not sure why. Some people are saying they did put a heater in it, which is good. You should keep a heater with your betta fish if you live in a cold climate. Someone goes, you better think twice, which is true. A lot of cons here, as you can see. Difficult to heat, that is true, the heater's hard. The pump is way too extreme for poor fish. Okay, so that's another thing, is if the pump is too strong and water going from each chamber can thrash the fish around, the chambers are so small, so a high water flow will constantly toss them up and stress them out a ton. Then we have that filter cartridge replacements, those are easy, not worried about that. And then the waterfall often jets the fish to the bottom, thrashing them against the rocks. So that's really bad. So far, I don't know why people like this tank. It has really good reviews on Amazon. Like, it has like 4 stars. But these 1-star reviews kind of speak for themselves and really just talk about how bad this tank is. Like, look at this betta fish right here. Does this betta fish look happy? No, this betta fish looks very depressed. Betta fish need a minimum of 2.5 gallons per betta fish, and this tank really just isn't doing it. So without further ado, I mean, we've already realized how trash this aquarium is, so why don't I just order it? $48 before tax. So almost $50 for this aquarium. Let's really see how amazing some of these reviews say, or bad it really is. I guess to be fair, I should read one positive review. This person right here goes, they want to respond to some people who have written 1-star reviews here. Basically, they're saying the tank was easy to set up, that some people were putting the lids on incorrectly, and that's why the fish were flopping into the other tanks. Because I guess that was an issue, or a scandal I should say, where fish were getting into other fish's chambers, fighting each other. That's the general consensus I've got. But apparently this person is calling them out, saying they put the lids on wrong. This person's also calling out people, saying the motor is loud. Apparently if you fix the motor in a correct position, it's not that loud. The pump also has variable speeds from high to low. Apparently if you set it on low, it's not too aggressive for the fish. But other than that, that's really the only 5-star review that was worth reading. Anyone who keeps a betta fish will know this tank is literally horrible. Without further ado though, I'm gonna go ahead and place this order, and I will see you in a few days when this tank shows up on my doorstep. We'll unbox it and really check it out. So I'll see you guys then. Okay, it has been a few days. I had to wear the same outfit to stay consistent, but even though it was delayed, our beautiful betta fish aquarium just got delivered. So let's talk a little bit more about this tank. As you can see, here it is. It's this weird footprint that might make a little bit more sense. So you see, there it is. How the tank is set up, really kind of interesting, I guess. The back explains it a little bit better, but as you can see, this is like a water reservoir down here, and then the water pumps from each little chamber and then kind of fills back and recirculates. There's a filter cartridge here. It comes with some fish food samples. For the price, does not come with a heater or any decor, which is a little weird. The box looks kind of open, but it's not. Here we are. So packaging, and then here's the tank. Here is what we have. It's got this cool kind of little slope design to it. However, just right off the back, it's crazy how small these tanks are. And here is the tank with all the plastic off. So it's very cheap, flimsy plastic. These tanks literally just like sit in here. I'm very unimpressed so far. There is a water level indicator, which I guess is nice to know the water level of the sump per se. And that's also a spot you could put the heater. Up here, we just have one little filter cartridge right there. That's the filter, nothing special. And then each of these tanks right here has its own little lid with these little vents that's supposed to stop the fish from being able to escape into the other aquariums. Another thing I noticed is that these dividers are actually frosted, meaning that the fish can't see each other, which is good because betta fish will flare up and get upset if they see each other. However, these tanks are way too small for betta fish. Like, I love the concept, I love the idea, but like, it's just so tiny. Like this is not even close to big enough for one betta fish, but whatever. And then here you can see a little bit better of the sump. Down here is the pump, and the pump does have a little variable speed thing. I went ahead and put it on the lowest speed possible just because we don't need our fish to get bashed around. So right off the bat, it's pretty much unsuitable for most fish. However, just for the purpose of the video, I'm gonna set it up and we're gonna get a few small fish in here just to kind of see how it works. We'll put some sand and gravel in each little chamber and, you know, just kind of have a fun time with it. But in reality, it really is too small for most fish. Okay, so I went ahead and moved into our aquarium testing area. As you can see, I have it set up. The one thing I can't get past is how cheap and plasticky it really feels, but I have to get past that and we're just gonna set it up anyways. I'll just start by removing these lids. But one thing I will mention is that this tank is pretty much not suitable for live plants in its current form. Unless you have some form of lighting over it that you put in extra, just getting out of the box is not ready for live plants. So I'm just gonna take some of this white sand and just dump a little bit into each chamber. The chambers are so small that it really does not need, oh, okay. It doesn't need that much. So we got the tank set up. Now I just need to fill it up with water. And I'll just fill it up with water. It doesn't look like it's gonna need that much water, to be honest. But I'm just gonna go ahead and fill up these chambers, I guess, one by one. They look to hold about a half gallon of water each, which is concerning to say the least. But I'll just throw this into a time lapse where I fill up all of these chambers. As you can see, the water gets super nasty, which will be a great test for our filtration system, as I mentioned. So all the chambers are filled up, as you can see, and our sump down below is filled up to the max line, which is over there. You can't really see it. I'm gonna go ahead and get these lids on real quick. We still have to put some fake plants in here, but we can get water flowing. Not sure what's going on. I did turn it to the minimum setting on purpose. We'll go ahead and see if water is filling up. So it does look like water is coming. It is just very slow. It will be coming out of this place right here. But as you can hear, it is very, very loud. So maybe having it on minimum is not the best idea. Okay, so I went back here to fix the pump. It was a huge pain. I had to take off all these things. Water started flying everywhere. It was a production, to say the least. Well, I think everything is in place now. I'm gonna try to plug it in again, and it's still making that noise. Okay, it's a little better, but it's a work in progress. So I'll just give the tank a second and we'll come back when it's flowing. Okay, so the Aqueon Betta Flow aquarium is now set up and running. The water trickle sound isn't bad at all, but that filter hum is really annoying. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this settle overnight because, as you can see, it is just a mess. So we'll let this settle overnight. I'll come back tomorrow, we'll put in some fake plants and get it ready for some fish. Now here's how the main water flow looks. So I have it around halfway right now because when it was on low, it was just way too loud. So this was like a good sweet spot I found. The water flow doesn't look too strong. However, these chambers are only half a gallon, so we'll just have to see how that plays out. Regardless though, I'll check in with you guys tomorrow to see if the tank is cleared up. Hopefully it will be crystal clear, but the sand just has a lot of fine dust in it. So we'll really see how good the filtration is. Remember, it's just that one cartridge filter, but we're really putting it to the test, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Just like that, I gave it about 2 days to clear up, and as you can see, we've made a lot of progress. So the tank is definitely clearer, as you can see. The filter did do a good job of clearing up the tank, so that's awesome. So one thing about the filtration I've learned is that it goes from tank to tank, and then on this last tank, it actually overflows into it, and then right back out of it, right down there. It's hard for you to see, but there's actually water running in between that crack. So if you listen, You can hear there's quite a bit of water splashing, which really isn't that bad. It's just something to take note of. The pump itself though, like the review said, is very loud. Other than that though, I'm gonna go ahead and take these off so we can go ahead and get ready to put in some plants. Unfortunately, with this tank, we cannot do any live plants, and we can't do any live plants because there's no light in this tank. I don't know why, there's no light, so you cannot keep any live plants in here for whatever reason. So we're stuck with fake plants. I just grabbed a few little colorful ones to kind of brighten up the tank because in reality, this tank is very, very dark. But I did come up with a little stocking idea for this tank. However, unfortunately, in reality, this tank is not practical at all. Even for the small fish and shrimp that may be able to live in a tank this small, unfortunately, these overflow vents are too big to stop small fish from getting through. So any sort of small shrimp will just get sucked right out of the tank. So I've decided I'm gonna get a different species for each chamber. Obviously, they're not gonna be in here long term. This is just to kind of show you guys the tank up and running with livestock in it. I would not recommend that setup for keeping anything in it, really, unfortunately. With that being said though, I did go ahead and come up with 3 different animals we're gonna be putting in here. So I wanna put a few small guppies. Guppies should not live in a tank this small long term. I'm gonna do some ghost shrimp and some cherry shrimp. But just for the time being, to ensure everything is safe, I conditioned the water and added some bacteria supplement as well as some lava rock from an established tank. So technically this tank is ready to hold livestock. However, the huge design flaw of the tanks being literally so tiny is really preventing us from keeping livestock in here long term. Okay, it has been a little bit. The tank is now ready. I am back from the fish store. I went ahead and picked up a few little inverts and some small fish to go into our interesting aquarium, to say the least. Other than the issues previously mentioned regarding obvious tank size problems and filter noise, the only other thing I've noticed is that the last waterfall creates a divot in the sand over time. But other than that, I haven't found too many more issues with this tank than, of course, the obvious ones. But the first little creatures I picked up were 5 red cherry shrimp. These guys will go in one of the chambers. Now, these chambers are small, honestly, even for shrimp, but this is just temporary. Now, this tank is at 72 degrees. That's room temperature, which all the fish we got today, the fish, shrimp, whatever, are perfect at 72 degrees. The next guys I got are, I think there's like 5 ghost shrimp. It's hard for you to see in this bag. These are just like cherry shrimp, but clear, a little bit different, but pretty much the same care requirements. And then last but not least, I got 3, there they are, 3 little baby guppies right there. Now, obviously, as I mentioned 4,000 times, this tank is very small for these guys. This is just for demonstrational purposes. Please don't come for me in the comments. But let's go ahead and start taking these lids off and getting our new little tank ready for fish. Without further ado though, these guys have been sitting at the same temperature for a while, so these guys are perfect to go in this tank. Same exact temperature. I'm just gonna pop open these bags. I think I wanna do the guppies up top, dump them right up here into the top chamber. Stirring up all the sand, of course. But in go our little 3 baby guppies. Next up, I'm gonna do the cherry shrimp. I think I'm gonna do the cherry shrimp in the middle right here. So we'll go ahead and do the exact same thing. I might end up overflowing these tanks, to be honest, because this is a lot of water I'm dumping in to this really small aquarium. Okay, in go our 3 little red cherry shrimp. And now right here, last but not least, let's add in our ghost shrimp to the very last chamber. I'll be sure to put the lid on really quick here because I don't want them going into the filter, which is a possibility. And then in go those guys. Get this lid on real quick. And here's our aquarium all set up. Right here we have the guppies. Right here we have the red cherry shrimp. You can't see them, but there they are back there. And then in here we have the ghost shrimp. So this is honestly the best setup I could come up with this tank, that it would actually be capable of keeping these guys alive for a little bit. However, as I mentioned 400 times, in reality, the tank's too small to keep anything alive long term. So I hope you guys enjoyed coming along with me on the journey of setting up the Aqueon Betta Falls Betta Fish Aquarium. And I hope you guys enjoyed me absolutely roasting it, ripping the tank apart, and telling you why you should absolutely not buy it. Now, if you want to see an example of a good aquarium, check out this tank right here. It's a 10-gallon guppy tank that some of my subscribers and my personal friends went ahead and set up. I think it looks great. That's definitely an example of a perfect beginner aquarium compared to this horrible thing. I could not recommend this enough. 0 out of 5 stars. I would highly not recommend you buy this. Probably gonna return it to Amazon just because of how horrible it is, and I can't physically come up with a practical use for it. Even shrimp shouldn't be kept in here long term, like I mentioned. I can't come up with a practical use for this tank. I don't think you should either. I would advise you not to ever buy this tank. If you see it in a store, walk past it. That is pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, comments, or anything like that on how to correctly take care of a fish, Don't forget to let me know down below. If you like this style of videos and want to see me do this with other stores, eBay, stuff like that, go ahead and let me know down in the comments as well. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and goodbye.